Hi everyone, it's your boy Zach, and this is my review of Daredevil, Cold Day in Hell, issue number 1 by Charles Soule and Steve McNiven. I am very happy to report that, Jesus, how long has it been? 7 years? 8 years. Yeah, Perch was just talking about how he had his 6th anniversary for his channel. Mine's oh shit, it's April. Yeah, it's like a week and a half away from being 8 years. After 8 years, there are now so many good books out there that I can review one every single day. Now there was a time when there was so many bad books that I could review a different one every day, every week. But it's not the same, and I'm going to continue to harp upon this. But we are really finding out who was there for the culture and who was there for the culture war. And unfortunately, most YouTubers, most of the audience, they're just there for the culture war. They didn't want things to get better. They just wanted to call things woke. So we got a book here that was freaking awesome, just with one caveat. I don't like dystopias, or sort of dystopias. It feels like every time we flash forward in the Marvel Universe, it's 10, 20 years later, and it's a post-apocalypse. There's despots in charge. Like, I actually just thought this was going to be about like 60-year-old Matt Murdock just living his life. If we extrapolate that there's a bunch of heroes and they usually save the day, like it feels like it's always. I mean, this one isn't post-apocalyptic. It's more of like there's a financial depression and a war. But I thought I don't need any more like that. It's been done. So we get this excellent art. Now the obvious thing to say is that he's influenced by Frank Miller from Elektra Lives Again days. but honestly, I see Kari Andrews here as an influence more than Miller, which is interesting because is it all Kari? He says Kari like Atari, but it's Andrews, not Andrews. Kari Andrews has done multiple books where he's shown his, homage to Frank Miller. So it's interesting, on Daredevil, someone is homaging Kari Andrews, homaging Frank Miller. But especially like with these gates and this cityscape right here, this is very much in the style, not exactly, but in the broad style of Elektra Lives Again. So it's, I don't know, 20 years later. I think he's probably around 60, early 60s. He's got that Peter Weller kind of look. And there's a war, a group called DBs, although I don't think they explain what they are. Matt goes over to the kitchen, Hell's Kitchen, and he gets robbed. It's a very financially, people are strapped financially. And if you think he's going to bust out with all his powers, he doesn't, because he lost his superpowers. He's just a blind man with, let's assume, abs. He seems very spry. So he's running a soup kitchen at 49th and 9th, right next to the Dwayne Reed where I used to buy my toilet paper. And then there is a explosion. Now it says 41st Street here, but I believe it's supposed to be 50. No, there is one. There's one near there. Yeah, it's been a while, but within a block or so there is a subway entrance, and there's some sort of ooze radiation along with this explosion. Matt goes flying, and his radar sense comes back. Now, I had heard he didn't have his radar sense, and it was just him as an old blind man in the future. I was fine with that. Like, I was fine with that. So he gets his powers back, and it's kind of like, yeah, but it's like, you only didn't have your power. I mean, in your world, you didn't have powers for like 20 years. But I just started reading about your story, mister. So it's only been like 15 pages. So he gets his powers back and realizes this is a complex attack, as we used to say. It's not just an explosion. There's something happening down there in the sewer with some pretty gnarly Chris Christopherson Captain America. I like this very simple stripped down uniform, which is just a black shirt with a star on it. And then there's a really, spoilers, go buy the book. So there's a great scene where Captain America, he's holding up all this weight. He can't hold it up forever. He knows this is Matt Murdock. He knows he's got his powers back. So he's basically like, leave, but then he gets to talk to him while he's running away. And you see like as it farther away it fades. But that was a pretty cool thing to do. I really liked all this movement. I do, especially now that I'm like 51, it's interesting to get older. And this is the main thing for you young people. You're like, what's it like to get older? Okay, so here's the deal. You're going to look and feel essentially the same for about 8 to 10 years. Then, like every 8th to 10th year, you will age 5 to 10 years. Then you will go back to being fine. Now, this happened to me, and I just kind of learned it as it went along. But apparently, they've done all these studies, and I believe it's age 44 and age 61. That, like, people will suddenly age. And you've probably seen this with friends. You know, you don't see someone for like 2 years, and it's like, bro, you barely had a receding hairline like 2 years ago. You're like completely bald on top right now. But yeah, so it's not even. You're going to basically be the same for almost a decade, rapidly age, and then it'll solidify, and then 10, 15 years later, it'll happen again. So I think he's right at that like 60, where it's like, oh, so he's kind of, but I don't need like my bones are creaking, I'm so old, but I will tell you, reaction time. And I'm seeing that with video games. I've never been a huge gamer, but I have to play video games differently because I got no thumbs, I got slow reactions. But what I have is experience and knowledge, and also a bunch of battle packs on BF4. I didn't understand that you had to open them. So I've just been accumulating all these scopes and lasers and all these things, and I was like, where do they go? I can't find them. Well, you actually have to open them. So I just got the IR scope, a couple of, well, you don't just get the scope for everything. It's like, you have the scope for this shitty machine gun you never use. I want it for the 240. I have it for the basically Russian equivalent of the 240. Anyway, what I'm saying is, they're like, oh, I've got my radar vision back. Yeah, but you're 61. So he's just kind of going back into the flow in some ways. Physically, like I said, I don't need, my bones are creaking, but like, I needed some sort of adjustment besides just I have my powers back. And I mean, he doesn't have the muscle mass he used to have, you know. Was he going through an elaborate, stretching regimen every day, or was he like, I'm an old blind man who works at a soup? I feel like he would just be shredding all of his ligaments. But then he goes through a chase scene. We meet the villain, although I don't think they actually say who he is. But then we get back to, and I just saw this in episode 6 of Daredevil the other night. Classic scene. The hero goes to, get his costume out. There's a great version of that. It's not exactly the same, but in one of those ninja movies, not the ones from the 80s. God, I'm blanking on that guy's name. He was the guy in Avengement. So at one point they're like, go get this ninja uniform. that's been like underground since World War II. And when he gets it, it's all like mossy and moth eaten, and it looks like, but like, so everything's fine. But he does the little testing of the. I never kind of realized what. I always thought of his billy club as it's a longer stick, or it's basically two sticks. But especially with the show, they really emphasize that it's nunchucks also. I know that's always been there, but I feel like it's a recent addition to like make a point of it. I always just saw it as two sticks, one stick, or one stick is a grappling hook. So anyway, but definitely recommend, and more to the point of recommend for like comics. Like, comics is a fun hobby again. It's not just one or two books. Like, anybody telling you everything's woke, everything's terrible is a bum who wants money and or attention from you. Things are good. They are better than they've been. One of the things I keep, because I was like, I've basically said my piece on the culture war, both sides of it. But one thing that's very refreshing is if I'm focusing on mainstream comics, I don't have to deal with those weird, babyish Ned Flanders comics. Like, I can't explain how much it sucked to like have to cover this aspect of the comic book industry that's all these like Build-A-Bear Veggie Tales. You know who my hero is? My pastor. Yeah, okay. Okay. Nobody got into comics reading the lame ass freaking comics that it's on time. It's fine. Everything's on time. My morning shit is on time. Sorry. Had to go there. But it's nice to be, and this is a longer conversation, but I just discovered that, he's a DJ, but I didn't know that Howard Stern over the last 10 years had been building up like this catalog of great live performances it seems like he's had like 4 different studios in the last 20 years. So last night, I was just up until 3 a.m. watching Infinity Minus One, amazing live performances by some great bands. And one thing I was thinking is that all of these people are liberals. Almost all of them. Almost all of them. Almost all of them are liberals because that's who becomes artists. I honestly think that there aren't like... How do I say this? When I review mainstream comics, and I'm going to use artists as anyone who creates art. So, drawing, painting, writing, all that. The bad artists are still artists. Do you understand what I'm saying? But in crowdfunding, in culture war, they're not artists. They're not creative. They don't have that appreciation. They don't have that soul. So I'm very happy that the mainstream is producing good stuff with these iconic characters. It really sucked when they were hiring literal retarded people, hiring based off identity. But the characters were always good. The characters were essentially just waiting for better stewards. And, I'm not a huge fan of Charles Soule, but he's an actual artist, as in a writer. Whereas I don't know, this whole right wing, hey, libtards, let me show you how art is done. Super Pastor teams up with Space Cheerleader who ate a million bajillion Hamby burgers. What the fuck? What is this? There was no age where you thought stuff like that was cool. Like, Daredevil was always cool. Even when he had terrible creators working on his books, the character was still good. And now, there was a really crazy era, the SJW era, the woke era, whatever you want to call it, and it is mostly over. And so now people are just kind of stumbling out of, the wreckage that they created or sat idly by, and they're like, I got an idea. Old man Daredevil. We can't call it that. Mark Millar didn't, pitch that. All right, how about Daredevil, A Cold Day in Hell? Okay, that's literally the most obvious title ever, but fine. And people will just call it Old Man Daredevil or Old Man Matt Murdock. But, we can't officially call it that. But, yeah. Very, very, very... I always laugh when I see stitches like this. Is I'm pretty sure you could just make a new mask in the time it took you to sew. It's kind of funny. Kind of just rambling on. I'll wrap it up. But there is a lot of sewing in the military, especially in the infantry. If you don't know how to sew, you're gonna learn, because there's not always gonna be a mama-san around. So much sewing, and I'm telling you, it's just faster just to make a new mask. But anyway, go check it out. It is one of three. All right. Steve McNiven, I mean, he's done miniseries before, but he's also not been able to do every issue. So, okay, yeah. 3 issues, that's achievable. And I don't want to see one fucking panel, Jesus Christ, excuse me, on the that Wolverine he did. What was that, 2019? Fucking Declan fucking Shalvey. No. That is not commensurate. If you get a fill-in artist, it should be a similar style or a similar, quality expertise. It's hey, Steve McNiven can't draw this issue. How about Declan Shalvey? Even Declan Shalvey was that guy? Oh, wait, that's me. Anyway, thought this was going to be a brief video, but it wasn't. Thank you to everyone who suggested the Brave browser, because the Russian pirate site is really fighting back. As soon as I get it, right-click does not work anymore, even with the extension that's allow right-click. I mean, this shit worked 3 days ago, and now it doesn't work anymore on different platforms, different browsers. So now I have to go, just find I can't you see my thumbnails. You know how I roll with that shit. So this sometimes you just do a funny one. So this one would be a funny one. I would right-click this, save or open in a new tab. It does. Watch what it does. Right-click. Okay, so you got the. Does it have open in new tab? Open image in new tab right there at the top. Trans. The trans takeover. So what it does is it opens it, but it does it like an asshole. And it's oh, you wanted a transparent version of that image? No, dickhead, I didn't. This right click worked fucking 3 days ago. And it does it on every single page. And it, like I said, it does it on different browsers. And so now I need, thank you for helping with the Brave browser. Now I need right click to work again. Actually, I'm talking all this schmack, and I didn't even check if the snipping tool still works. This is fun, right? This is better than like a live stream. It's Rachel Zegler. Okay, so that works. Well, kiss my grits. Okay, so I can do that, but still, I like to be able to just. I feel like I should be able to do this. So Anyway. Thanks for watching. Bye. Oh, I forgot to have the thing, so I'm just sitting here. Thanks for watching. Bye.